This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Welcome back, McElroy Cubelic in the morning. Jocks 94.5, 9 o'clock here in Birmingham, Alabama. Look forward to visiting with Stanford Steve here in just a moment. Always appreciate our visits with him as we get you dialed in for week 0 of the college football season. We got games tomorrow, and a few that are interesting, I might add. It's not just Farmageddon, Kansas State, Iowa State. You also have an intriguing game between Kansas and Fresno State. Fresno State's been the adopted sons of Mac and Cube for quite a while. You also have a couple other intriguing games that I'm not saying are going to have playoff implications or things like that, but I could see in a roundabout way. I wouldn't be shocked if Kansas is in the mix towards season's end, especially with the topsy-turvy nature of the Big 12 as a whole, and they have a super dynamic quarterback. So if they are healthy at quarterback, I think they have a chance. So it should be very interesting to see how that all unfolds. We look forward to breaking it down with Stanford Steve here in just a moment. So let's bring him in. He's Stanford Steve of SVP fame, of the Stanford Steve. If you're on the podcast now, we see you all the time on SportsCenter. We see you on College Gameday. We see you all over the place, my friend. How are we this offseason?
I'm doing great, and I'm doing some rankings, polls, whatever. I just want to say both of you guys are number 1 seeds in ball knowers. You guys are the best.
Oh, wow.
I miss talking to you.
Thank
and,
you.
Numero uno.
Good to be out with some A1 ball knowers.
Actually, so let's throw this one out just quickly because this is a random one. We just talked to Gerard Hamilton. I think a lot of folks are on different sides with Missouri going into this year. I think they have, and you and I have talked about it, there's 8 to 11 teams in the league that could be 9-win or 6 wins. Where are you, Missouri, more on the end of can exceed expectations or maybe take a step backwards this year?
I look at backwards. Everybody's going to point to their schedule, obviously, and how other teams would want their schedule. I think we said the same thing about them last year, but I put them kind of like in the Ole Miss range. What the upside could be when you talk about getting good quarterback play. Drink's always doing a great job with quarterbacks. So when you look at in its totality, you get road games at Auburn and Vanderbilt and Oklahoma and Arkansas. How many of those are you going to win? And that was their problem. I mean, they got destroyed when they went to. I think they were still undefeated when they went to A&M last year, and that kind of gave you a real sense of what they were. But they overcame that. So I look at the ceiling as being 8 wins in there, and I think like you guys have discussed and stuff. I know I saw you guys at SEC Media Days, doing the tiers of who's and where. So that 8-4 tier is where I have Missouri.
Looking at some of these other over-unders, a few that have been hotly debated. Texas is probably the most hotly debated this year. I love them. I think they have a real chance to go and win the national championship, but I do not feel confident taking the over on 10-2 or taking the over on 10.5.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're probably on the same page, but what are some other big numbers that you're avoiding at this point?
I think LSU's one that sticks out, Greg. I've told everybody I love LSU this year. I just don't like them week 1 because I like what Clemson brings to the table. I put Clemson 1 when I did a poll, but like the LSU, like you saw how fast it went up and down last year, where they come back and beat Ole Miss, and then you have that 3-game losing streak. And to me, Cole, you and I have talked about it plenty. You got to run the ball. I'm at the South Carolina game, and they figure things out on the run, and they get that win. But like going back, I looked at some stuff like the difference between Denbrock and Sloan, and Sloan ranks in rush offense as a play caller. He's done it 3 years. He's never finished inside the top 100. In 2020, he was 119th, and 21 is 105th, and last year he was 107th. So I just think how stubborn are they going to be about running the football, knowing that better things happen? People don't have their ears pinned to come after Nuss. We know he likes to take chances throwing the football. And we saw the bad side of that in that 3-game losing streak, where it caught up to them. So LSU has the most wiggle room, I feel like, when you're talking about a win total. It's at 8.5. I still believe they have the goods to win 9 games. So I lean over, but I could see where the portal doesn't work out. There's not a lot of a team camaraderie, and they lose more. But I still trust Brian Kelly a ton. It's not the end of the world. It's going to feel like the end of the world if they lose week 1, knowing the lack of success they've had in week 1s. But you still have plenty to play for if things don't go your way week 1, which is great about the new format.
Greg and I would both be with you. Stanford Steve joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline with Clemson at 1. We have both been beyond surprised at where we've seen them land in a couple of other polls and a couple of other different places, a couple of other different rankings. Was it a difficult choice for you? Who would have been close? Who'd you debate it with? I think most people anticipate you'll go Penn State here. Was it a 3-team race, 4-team race? Was it just clear as day for you that Clemson's the best team in the nation heading into this season?
It was them and Penn State. I know everyone's going to point to Penn State and the head coach guys, but when I go back and watch, Greg, you called that game. I'm watching it with Coach Saban, the Orange Bowl, and James Franklin didn't throw the ball across the field in the middle of a gotta have it 2-minute drill. At some point, if these guys are going to be getting millions of dollars, they got to be more accountable. That's on the quarterback. That's on Drew Aller. You can't make that throw in that point of the game, and you have the lead in the first half, and it goes by the wayside, and you're at home watching the national championship. And the other thing with Penn State, I don't know how to read Aller. I look at the weirdness about not going to the Manning Passing Academy and how that played out, and it's been multiple years. And then I look at what he did in crunch time last year, but then I look at the rest of the roster and the addition of Knowles on defense. Give me all that. Their schedule's not tough. They should be in the national championship game this year. There's no excuses. They follow the Michigan-Ohio State model of bringing their guys back and adding pieces where they need them at wide receiver. So I think the world of them. It's not going to be because of James Franklin if they don't win. It's going to be because players didn't execute. I love both coordinators. So it was Clemson and Penn State for me to decide between the top 2.
What about Ohio State? I'm getting crushed for having them 8. I feel like that's super fair.
How do you know you're getting crushed? You don't look at social media. What are you looking at AL.com or something? Where are you getting crushed?
Get Up. I was just on Get Up, and Greeny was asking me about it, and I can sense when people ask me about a specific team and why I have them ranked where they're at, it indicates to me that people clearly have a problem with where I have that team ranked. I think Ohio State has a lot to prove. Can they be one of the best teams in the country? Absolutely. But there are a lot of unknowns surrounding that roster, especially at quarterback, and they require a lot of their quarterback. So what do we make of Ohio State at this point, and how would you kind of have them stacking up against the top teams?
Yeah, I have them at 7. And you touched on it, Greg, with the quarterback. It sounds like, Keynote's made it really, really hard on saying. And then, I think obviously go back and look at the numbers for the quarterbacks. Ryan Day does an exceptional job. But yeah, the things Hartline's never called plays. That's a big deal for me. When you're playing a team like Texas week 1, what's that going to look like? Yeah, all right, yeah, throw the ball to 4. We get it. But there's going to be different game plans that they see as you have the best player in the sport. And then on defense, I love Styles and Downs, obviously. But up front, that's a lot of snaps they lost. And I look at Texas in the same boat. I have them ranked right at the amount of snaps they lost from guys up front, and you go back and look at it, that's not a plug-and-play deal. Yeah, they're both set up to be great teams, and those teams don't rebuild. It's more of a reload, but you still got to plant pieces in, and guys got to get reps next to each other playing up front. So yeah, there's plenty of questions for me in the Texas and Ohio State. I feel like when you look at the week 1 games, I feel like I know a lot more about LSU and Clemson than I do Ohio State and Texas, and that's why I have Texas and Ohio State ranked 6 and 7.
I think it's totally fair when you start asking those questions. Who's the team that you have consistently seen lower, maybe lacking respect, lacking people who have real energy behind them going into this year that you kind of say, I like these guys. I don't know what people are missing with this team heading into this season.
I'll give you one off the Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech,
almost no conversation that outside of our show that I hear people like real. And I'm serious, like real buzz about when you look at what they have, Steve. It's like no buzz whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think the coaching staff probably kind of likes that. They could use it as motivation talking to their team, right? Like, hey, nobody's talking about. But seriously, the ultimate. I mean, it's going to be a fiasco. You go out to Boulder, right? You got to win that game. But you get Clemson at home. You go to Duke, who should be good. They're a team I still need to see more of. But being out there last year. And, we know what Florida State turned into, but, I just love how Georgia Tech came out. I think they're a handful to prep for with what they do pre-snap. Haynes is good as long as he's upright. They do a great job in the run game. I think, they're darn sound. I like the talent at the skill position. The running back's a stud. And you get a bunch of guys coming back on defense, and the group was fine. But you saw the upside last year when they pull off the upsets. Now you just got to work on consistency, and I think that's a lot easier. You know what your good is in beating teams, like Miami last year and going toe-to-toe with Georgia. So that's a team I thought I have them ranked. I was hoping they were going to get more love, but I think that you have everything you want in that team, and you bookend it with a Clemson and Georgia to get a litmus test of how good you are on your schedule. But that's a team no one has talked about that I think is going to have a really good season.
My only thing is they're just a little trendy, and that's
really
my only.
Who's talking about them?
People that know. All right, so I don't know. I feel like amongst
Luganville's on them.
I mean, Pate's on them. We're on them. Lugs is on them. I mean, I feel like, and I think a lot of people are basing their assumption of growth on the game against Georgia last year. I think if you look at their game against Georgia, it's like, oh, man, they're legit. And then you kind of dive in. It's like, well, the inconsistencies that they've had for years are still very much a part of last year's team. And hopefully, part of that has to do with Haynes King's health and a few other things. But yeah. I'm optimistic. But I also at the same time feel like, man, they're a better team when no one's talking about them. I do think people are, in fact, making note of just how good they might be. Answer me this in the Big 12. If I were to tell you right now, Arizona State or the field, how quickly are you running to the window to bet the field?
I'm jogging. I'm jogging.
Oh, God. Well, for you, a jog is like a sprint for most because of just how athletic you are. As a blocking tight end, it resembled Robbie Oots.
I wish.
Whoa.
I wish.
It's not a bad comp, by the way. I'd take that comp.
I couldn't hold Robbie Oots' jock in the blocking game. I'll just say that. That man could get after it. No, the issue, Greg, is I think Texas Tech's the biggest wild card in the country, right? And when you look at what's violating the portal in every way possible, I think the biggest question for me is their quarterback's health. I really like the quarterback, but that shoulder, man, that's a tough deal. And if you lose him, you added all these pieces, but you don't have the keys. Baylor is super scary. And Utah is a team I can't get off them. I've been on them every year, but I'll be back on Utah. So I thought Dillingham was really good in the stuff that I've watched about how it's not about recruiting anymore. It's about retaining. What he did with Sam Leavitt, I thought was absolutely, just going back and watching games, I didn't appreciate Leavitt for how good he was in knowing the situation that he was in. I think it's criminal that they took away the preseason rankings. You want people to talk about your league, and then they use the Arizona State deal that as to why they're not. I'm like, they went from unranked to a top 12 team in 3 weeks. Like, what's wrong with that? They made the playoff. So, no, it's super fascinating. It's as fun a conference as there is. I think that's why guys like us love it, because the games week in and week out and in the different home fields, especially now, like teams playing in Orlando, Cincinnati, and Lubbock. Like, you don't get that diversity in other conferences, which makes it fun as hell. But, yeah, I'm real interested to see Dillingham with all the expectation, how does he handle that? That's the thing as a young head coach that I'm super interested in seeing how he handles his team, because they bring back plenty of stuff, and Levitt's at the top of it and should be the best quarterback in the league.
Are you with us that – well, I'm not going to speak for Greg because I think he's on board with me here because we've kind of had this conversation, but not deliberately. I just think this is going to be upsets, close games, late games, tight. Single plays are massive late that decide games. Just kind of a bananas season in college football because of that lack of clarity we have at the top. We take Penn State, we take Clemson, we take Ohio State, as we've all talked about. There are plenty of problems and issues. Feels like more than ever to discuss with those. Are you into like Greg asked me the question the other day? How many 3-loss teams getting in?
Yeah.
And when you start thinking about it, you're like, whoa, I can see it. I can see multiple. Are you on board with that kind of a season this year?
No doubt. I mean, you just look. I mean, I think you asked the question like who can win a national championship. That seems like it's more than it has been, which is great. Everybody wants a shot, and that's the thing with the new playoff is, with the old BCS, it was all right. Who's getting the top two, and then with the 4 team, all right, who's 5th and 6th there. Now, just go back to last year. How many teams at the end? And you didn't know what was going to happen with the Big 12, but like instead of 4 and 5, you're looking at to get the last spot. It's teams from 12 to 18 that had a shot, and it just makes it better for the whole season. And I love the 12 team. They made the fixes. Can we just let it bake now? Like I think we're set up for a great season, including a playoff that's been tweaked a little bit and will work out great. All the change is what scares me, and like people just got to find some more hobbies or something. It just feels like people are getting bored and just want to change stuff. Like let's let it bake. Like the season's here, let's enjoy it.
No. Stop. That's way too level-headed. We need more chaos and more disruption. Steve, get you out of here with this. Looking at the national championship picture this year, if you were to place a wager on a league to go and win it, which league are you going with?
I'm taking the SEC.
There you go. All right. Stanford Steve going SEC.
I got one for you guys on the way out.
Let's get it.
Who wins more games, A&M or Oklahoma?
Ooh,
A&M schedule. I think Oklahoma could be really good, lose 3 or 4. Yeah. Schedule's filthy. And I do think with everything that we love about Oklahoma, right, let's take it. John Mateer brings his OC from Washington State. Could it be there? It's still got a gel fit work. It doesn't always work. How many times have we seen it? Oh, these guys were great over here, and it just doesn't work. O-line healthy. Deion Burke's healthy. Rest of receivers, running backs healthy. I love the D-line. I've said it. It's the best D-line in the SEC. You still lose Billy Bowman and Danny Stutzman, 2 of the best players, leaders we've seen the last couple of years on that side of the football. So there's still plenty of question marks, just like every other team we're going to talk about, Steve. So, and there's question marks with A&M. I'm not sold on their quarterback situation, but I bet they're going to be able to run the football.
Yeah.
I mean, think about everything we love about Oklahoma right now for all those reasons. Who's going to be better at running the football this year, A&M or Oklahoma?
A&M.
Okay. So.
Well, if you factor in quarterback run. Scramble.
Okay, factor it in.
Count that?
Factor it in. I think Marcel Reed can pick up a couple yards with his legs if he needs to.
I agree. He's
he
not
ain't going between the tackles very much, but no, he's not Mateer. He's not, but
he's not Mateer running the ball.
They'll be able to add it. Hell, they probably should have added in a couple games last year when they were in comfortable spots and lost.
Here we go.
I just asked that question because like Oklahoma, Michigan, week 2, I have no idea what that's going to look like. No idea. Michigan, I mean, I'm still waiting for their training camp to come on Big Ten. I'm trying to put names to faces and numbers. I have no idea what Michigan's going to have.
Yeah, it's their last stop, right? I was watching Michigan State last night. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. It's going to be a fun year, man. We're glad you're back on board to be with us on Fridays, and I think it's going to be great. How are you pumped about first week 1 or 0, where you guys are heading doing?
Yeah, I'm fired up. The first show is going to be unlike we've ever done. It being Coach Corso's last show, but like I don't know how much time you guys have spent in Chapel Hill. We're going there for the Monday night game. Like it's sold out. It's the biggest game they've had there since '97. Speaking of teams, I have no idea what they're going to look like because they don't wear numbers in practice. But I can't wait to be at Chapel Hill to see that scene and see what it's like. That campus is as good as it gets.
Almost said the exact same thing you just did, Steve.
Go.
Speaking of no idea, I mean, I couldn't give you no clue when we're going to get there. No idea.
That campus is as good as it gets on a game day. Are you kidding? What are we doing here? I love you. I love you.
I'm talking about beauty of campuses, Greg.
Oh, stop
With a sold-out crowd. They never had a sold-out crowd since 97.
Then how do you know how it looks?
I was there.
97, was that Dre Bly?
Yes, it was.
Brandon Spoon at linebacker?
Oh.
God, my football knowledge is elite.
Bonnie Holiday.
What were you doing? Tailgating? What were you doing there?
We played there.
Tailgating.
Wait, Stanford sold it out?
Yeah. They were top
Oh,
five
my.
teams.
I've heard it all.
They were coming to see us. They were top 5.
There you go.
All right.
No, Greg doesn't know, but they had some dudes, man. I'm telling you. Dre Bly had 14 picks one year. Brandon Spoon was like a top 5 linebacker coming out of high school. And I think he tore his bicep like twice, and he wasn't quite as effective.
Yep.
They had dudes, man. They really did.
Jeff Saturday.
He's okay.
Pretty good.
Not a bad guy. So, Steve, we always appreciate it, man. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up next week.
All right, boys. Have a great weekend.
Stanford Steve joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, G-Mac.
Love Stanford Steve. Always appreciate him. He also will be joining us hopefully almost every week. We're hoping to have him. Obviously, travel schedules make things challenging from time to time. He's great, and we always appreciate him. We also appreciate our friends at Atlas Senior Living. Atlas Senior Living does an amazing job. They will always make sure they go above and beyond to make sure that your loved ones are taken care of. They have locations throughout the Southeast, including one here in Birmingham, down there near Greystone. It's a terrific, terrific place. They have so much that they can offer your loved ones in the event in which they want to go spend some time at Atlas Senior Living. So go check them out, atlasseniorliving.com. Also, they will have a Pick'em contest coming out here very soon. So stay up to date with us on that. You can get Amazon gift cards. You can get some money. All you got to do is pick some winners against the spread. So check it out, atlasseniorliving.com.
All right, when we come back, quarterback news around college football, and we hear from Kalen DeBoer right after this on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning, hour number 3, 9:25. Been a fun show so far. Discussed the SEC going to a 9-game conference schedule. Mike Riepele joined us to discuss the Birmingham Stallions coming back next spring. No more to worry about there. That is done. And we've been delivered Hero Donuts, which is never great. But we will try to stay away.
You get a donut burger?
Did not get the burger, but got multiple flavors of donuts that I'm going to try to stay away from. John did not. Don't blame you.
They were a gift.
The worst part about it is, there are not many things. Baked goods, specifically donuts. When you open that box, the odor just hits different.
The waft. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that smell good, that smell delightful, but like you hit freshly made donuts when you open that box, that's hard to turn down, man. That is just, and that's why you need Game Day Men's Health on speed dial. Or better yet, just know the website, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. If you need to get the weight off, they can help you. Multiple weight loss programs for you, peptides in stock that they can get you on board with. Your body stops making those over time, so they want to get them back going. You go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now, schedule the free consultation. You go in, you're going to get a free PSA test, free testosterone test. You're going to get the height, weight. You're going to get the blood pressure, let you know where you are and what they can do to help you. Mention Mac and Cube, save 10% on any service that they offer at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. All right, some college football news, G-Mac. We love going with the quarterbacks across college football. First off, Auburn gets 5-star safety Braylon Womack committed, so the recruiting continues to trend back in a little bit of a positive direction for the Auburn Tigers, G-Mac. So some of the folks off the Fire Hugh Freeze train due to recruiting results yet, or is that still going, you think?
No, probably still going.
It's not working.
People are going to, no matter what, subscribe to the idea that you better be recruiting in June or else you can't recruit. But I'm of the belief that now more than ever, late recruiting is probably better. just because when you get them to the finish line, coming up with an extra couple $1,000 to tempt a guy to consider you is of the utmost importance. But still, good move there to have him at least at this point.
All right, UTEP has announced their starting quarterback. This is no surprise at all. Malachi Nelson, USC Boise transfer. He'll open up against Utah State. Week 3, keep in mind, they're at Texas. And, Greg, this is a big-time talent at quarterback. This is an offense that has been successful recently and a guy that can – I mean, he's got a load of ability. How it all works out, we don't know. But that's not one that I think a lot of people were questioning out there at UTEP.
No, and was a guy a couple years ago you thought was going to be the starter at SC and potentially replace Caleb Williams when he graduated. It's never materialized, goes to Boise, gets beat out by Maddox Madsen, and it just never happened for him. So be curious to see where it goes from here, but the question has not been about talent, at least coming out of recruiting, because if you're a 5-star, you're always a 5-star, as you know. But we'll see if he is going to be able to live up to the recruiting billing that he had coming out of high school.
No doubt. UCF had one of the more interesting quarterback competitions that nobody was talking about. Indiana transfer Taven Jackson will not get the job. Miami transfer Ja'Cory Brown will not get the job. Cam Fancher will. 26 starts at FAU and Marshall. He'll be the quarterback for the Knights this year, so that one is now settled. Kent State has named redshirt senior KJ Montez their starting quarterback. You seen the tape on KJ, Greg?
No.
Yeah.
I know Steven Montez from Colorado a few years ago. Same guy?
Not
just new name?
Different guy. Did not change the name. But is going to be – he was a starter at Fordham the last couple of years. How about these numbers? This is based on the Fordham website, okay? These are the stats that I have. He'll open up against Merrimack, by the way. I don't think that's Merrimack Hall, but I do think that it is Merrimack. 3,333 yards last year, 27 touchdowns, 1 interception. The year before, 3,010 yards, 26 touchdowns, 1 interception. Guy protects the football.
Guy knows how to distribute.
Give him credit for that.
Game manager.
Give him credit for that. Might be a massive step. If you're looking for the biggest turnaround in college football this year, only because they were so bad, Kent State might be your guy. That might be your team. That might be your team.
What?
I haven't seen I haven't seen the tape on Fordham. I don't know how the kid plays.
It sounds to me like you're buying what they're selling.
Walter Payton Award finalist. Led the Patriot League in passing yards and touchdown passes. Well, I'm just saying.
Over under 1.5 interceptions for him this year.
Over. I thought you were going to say wins, by the way, and I was also going to take the over, but not by much.
Wow.
Not by much.
Let's ride.
Not by much. So that's your quarterback news across college football. There was an interesting article out yesterday about Austin Simmons at Ole Miss, GMAC, and it says that he kind of has that. He was quoted some coaches on staff that he kind of has that Tua thing. There's good news and bad news here. I'm hearing great things about him in camp, as I believe that you are. I'm not hearing great things about the Ole Miss offensive line. And that is one that I think I don't know how much we're going to find out against Georgia State week 1, but that continues to be more than just a real concern for this Ole Miss football team heading into the season.
And what should be concerning is that it was a concern last year.
When people said it was good.
And, well, yes.
That's what we were told. We were told you and I were wrong. And that Jackson Dart needed to get rid of the ball, and that what were we talking about? The offensive line was good. Look how many yards.
Well, there were times when he probably could have. There were times when he probably could have helped him out by getting rid of it a little sooner. I will acknowledge that. The quarterback can shoulder some of the blame there, but the offensive line never at any point last year were you excited about them being able to hold up or get the necessary yardage on a third short without them having a 330-pound fullback carrying the ball. So I think that the offensive line remains a position of concern, but the good news is if you're looking at it from Ole Miss's standpoint, they've never been good there. That's never been a great group. So if they're having trouble, maybe if anything else, maybe they've adequately replaced their defensive line personnel that we were so concerned about coming into the season.
Is there something they can do from an RPO perspective honestly, I don't know how much they add, but see, I've heard some conversation. I mean, listen, I'm not afraid to say it. Like the same podcast that you appeared on with me, Jordan Rogers came on, and he's like, I think they get back to more of the RPO quick game stuff. And like, I didn't feel like they got that far away from that. Are there portions of that you feel like they can alter a little bit, get back to a little bit more in a different way that would help that group out? I'm kind of like you. I feel like this is always an offense that sort of try to protect their offensive line to a certain extent.
They'll definitely protect the offensive line. That I'm not concerned about. But if you really look at them the last 2 years from an aggressiveness standpoint, they're probably among the most aggressive teams in the country. I mean, really. And I think some of that had to do with the fact that Jackson Dart is not a super twitched up player. There's not a lot that happens quickly for him. Things are a slightly slower, more slower developing player, likes to push it down the field, likes to extend some plays, let guys open up downfield, back shoulders, deep balls, what have you. They've been an aggressive group. I could see them being a little bit more of an efficient group this year, where they're comfortable with the 6-7 yard gain as opposed to trying to constantly manufacture the 20-yard gain. The best example of this was at the end of the game against Florida last year, where Jackson Dart didn't need to force it 20, 25 yards downfield, and yet he did over and over and over again, as opposed to just being methodical 4 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards on a 2-minute drill. He's trying to get it all back with one throw. I think that that's an area where they can probably grow, so it wouldn't shock me if they're slightly more quick game this year than they've been in the last couple.
Yeah, okay. We'll see if Ole Miss goes that direction. When we come back on the other side, we'll hear from Ryan Grubb. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer on just how things are heading in Alabama's camp. Also, another SEC quarterback. You'll hear from him on winning the starting job next on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It is 9:38 right here on Jocks Friday, August 22nd. Been a great show. Heading into college football tomorrow morning. Are you ready? If not, doesn't matter. It's here. Joey Aguilar, if he's ready to be the Tennessee starting quarterback.
I felt that the scrimmage was hot, and it.
I would say the only thing I really had to adjust to was the tempo of the offense. You know, I was somewhat in 2023, and I wouldn't say it as tempo as this, but we were like pretty on the ball, just not as fast. So just getting used to getting the signal and lining up and going through my progressions was just the adjustment I had to make.
If you're trying to adjust into a new home, Gusty Goulas Group can help. Go to GustyGoulasGroup.com today and see what they can do for you. Serves over 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. So if anybody knows this market, it's Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. They want to get you into a new home. They want to help you get out of your home. If you want to know how much it's worth, go to GustyGoulasGroup.com, button at the top right of the page. Smash that, very little information. They're going to tell you what they think they can get. Over 850 5-star Google reviews. Call 205-542-1996 or visit GustyGoulasGroup.com today. Ryan Grubb on the difference of the Alabama offense now that he's been there.
I mean, that's kind of the obvious one, right? Is like we're not necessarily a Jalen Milroe offense right now. Just Jalen was a super talented runner, and that was probably a part of the game plan every week, and which was smart last year by the offensive staff. So I think that's probably the biggest difference.
That might be a good thing, Greg. Might make them a little more balanced, less reliant on individuals and more on scheme, what the defense is presenting, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think that last year was very much about Jalen and how much he improvised and how comfortable he was running the football, especially as they got closer to the goal line. I think that was a big part of what they did. They wanted to play into the strengths of his skill set. What he wasn't is a very efficient passer. He missed some underneaths. He'd missed some layups. He liked to go deep. He was more comfortable going deep, but his numbers and stats throwing it deep weren't great. If you really look at where he really regressed from 23 to 24 on the deep ball. So I'll be curious to see kind of where things go from here. It'll be fascinating. But I'm pretty optimistic about how well-rounded this group is. Would love to have Jam Miller back and available all season long, which stinks. But at the same time, you got to feel pretty good about what they're going to have with kind of everything across the board this year.
Kalen DeBoer, Alabama head coach, from yesterday's practice on now flipping that page towards Florida State.
Introing into Florida State here, first reps. We obviously have done a lot of homework and different meeting rooms and things like that. Might have snuck some peeks on film, but as far as coordinated efforts in practice, today was where we started that. So both sides of the ball, all phases of the game. So that was good. And then just update, because I guess I never really have had a chance to address you guys. Jam, with his injury, a little more significant than what I thought when I was there for the press conference with you guys last. Found out more information afterwards. So he'll be out. We'll go week by week, but he'll be out for, first game for sure, and we'll play it from there.
I don't think there's any doubt when you begin to start turning the page, those are a couple of things you're going to pay attention to, and specifically trying to point out that Alabama's going to have to be able to manage. We've talked quarterback run multiple times this offseason, Greg. You have to mitigate that to be successful against what we think we're going to get from this sort of Malzahn-Norvell hybrid offense.
Yeah, and I think that one of the weirdest parts about this is that a lot of people have started to make suggestions. Well, Gus Malzahn's known how to dial it up in the past against Alabama. He can do it again. It's a completely different style of defense with how they defend quarterback run, how many eyes are in the backfield. So I don't think using Malzahn's success at times while at Auburn as the play caller against Alabama, using that as an indicator of how this game could go, I think would be irresponsible. Now, I love Thomas Castellano's skill set as a runner, so I know quarterback run's still going to be a huge part of what they do, but I also know that this defense is probably a little better equipped to handle quarterback run because of the vision defense that they play. How do you kind of see that playing out?
No, I'm with you. And we talked about, I think it was Jamie Bailey and I and a couple other Florida State fans were talking last night just about what's this going to look like? What's this offense going to be? Because they were asking about Herb Hammond's the O-line coach. I was like, the big question should be what are they going to present offensively? Because Mike Norvell is a gap scheme power runner. He wants to hit the perimeters. He wants to play action off that. And Gus Malzahn, as you and I both know, it's a little bit different. It's a little more reliant on tempo, getting that defense out of place, spreading you out a little bit, and it becomes downhill as the game progresses, but you have to have success in other places earlier. I don't think Mike has ever intended on, our run game is only going to work if these other two things are working. They're going to just run the ball. They should be able to accomplish that based on their scheme and their strategy and their skill set of how they do what they do. Where does that mix in? I mean, Mike's had some Q run in the past, but he's never leaned on it heavily. Gus has. Right. So I'm just super intrigued to see how Gus and Mike are going to present the offense. That's the biggest question for me. Castellano's skill set, yes. Can he break you down? Of course. Is he dangerous?
No doubt.
Absolutely. But to what extent is he going to be asked to run it? To what extent are they going to design the runs? How many of the runs are going to come off options based on what Alabama's defense has given them? That's the most intriguing part for me as we head into it for this game.
Help me out here. As I've gone back and watched a little more from last year, spent some time on Alabama 2 days, maybe 3 days ago, I don't know, sometime this week. And I actually came away with it feeling a lot better about their personnel on the interior of the defensive line. Now, I know that we have a unique perspective when taking into account how good Bama's been in the past. I don't think Tim Keenan's going to develop into Quinnen Williams. I'm not suggesting that, but actually came away with it thinking that could be a legitimate strength. I think Tim Keenan was really good last year. The more I watched, the more I was like, all right, he did a lot of nice things. I think with James Smith's growth and the possibility of him becoming a difference maker.
He's the one to watch for me. He's the one that I think nobody's talking about.
He's the next level guy.
He could be. He's got the hand strength and skill set, leverage. Watch his pad level. His pad level is almost never bad. And you and I have talked about a lot of D linemen in this league the last few years that just cannot control their pad level consistently. So I think he's the one, Greg, that if we're at the end of the year saying, man, that dude made some big strides, he's the one that can do it.
Yeah. Well, I think he, along with Tim Keenan's going to eat space. We know kind of what he is. He's going to allow, though, a lot of freedom at the second level and by James Smith to kind of do some different things. Now, you look at Tim Keenan's numbers at season's end, they will not be impressive. unless they run right into them, they will not be impressive as far as tackles for loss, sacks, pressures, what have you. But I do think his impact was more significant than I probably thought going into this upcoming season. And James Smith's advancement, we know we love Overton. You love what we might see from Latham. We know we love what we might see from Rousseau. I think this defensive line could be a real strength if things happen the way I think they're going to happen this year, and they need some depth to emerge for sure. But I'm pretty optimistic about where things are right now with this defensive line going into the year.
They got a chance. They really do. And it's not a fair comparison that we throw out. And you laid it out there beautifully. We're going to look at Georgia. We're going to look at Bama. We talked about this with LSU running backs. Like, Caden Durham might be great, but, like, we're used to seeing the lower end of LSU running backs be Darius Geis and go for like 1,800 yards.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like, that's the okay, I guess we'll settle for him, and it's a guy that goes out there and runs for 230 against you. So there are going to be certain spots that just we anticipate to be in a certain way and look in a certain way. And it might not be that, but that doesn't mean it can't be pretty good, and specifically can't be better than a lot of other places, because that is a position of need for a lot of people in the league right now. And if you need products to help you feel better in your daily routine, whether it's dropping a little bit of weight and getting the Trim by SunMed, it's on the shelves now at your CBD store, largest brick-and-mortar CBD retailer in the world. Go by and tell them you heard about them right here on Mac and Cube. They're going to have products for your skincare, your gut health, you or your pet, arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet. They just want to help your daily routine be better. More energy, more focus throughout the course of the day. They have those products at your CBD store. Stop by one of their 3 locations today and let them make your day better. All right, when we come back, we got our Super Sofa Games of the Week for the first weekend of college football right after this on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
Welcome back in. Mac and Cube in the morning, 9:51 a.m. Friday, August 22nd, right here on Jocks. You missed any of the show, go to JocksFM.com or just go to YouTube, search Jocks945. You can rewatch the show there.
Crocker Movers is a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. And they did your whole home packed up move, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, they got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, let's get to our Super Sofa Games of the weekend with week 1 of college football starting tomorrow, week 0 technically, first week of it. Greg, which direction you going?
Well, I'm going to go in a different direction because I would imagine this one's getting taken. I'm going to take our adopted sons, the Fresno State Bulldogs, led by E.J. Warner and Matt Entz, head coach there, former head coach of North Dakota State, taking on the Fighting Leipolids from David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium, brand new, renovated facility. Kansas is about a 2-touchdown favorite right now. I will go Fresno and Kansas, 5:30 on Big Fox.
Damian, which direction you going? Super Sofa Game of the Week.
You know where I'm going. The first one to start it off for college football, 11 a.m. from Dublin, Ireland. Iowa State taking on Kansas State in the Big 12 showdown to start the season off in 2025. Farmageddon, as they call it, is my TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa Game of the weekend.
First one of the year. It'll be good. Does Dublin move the meter for you guys at all in this?
No.
Yeah, I don't care.
Not really.
No. Just give me football.
No, not really. But I'm not mad about it.
Be in Dublin, Georgia, I'd watch it. It doesn't really matter.
Wow. Is Dublin, Georgia a place?
Yes.
Yeah,
John, go.
It
Love
does
that.
exist. For
Love
me,
that.
I want to see the Dan Muller era begin at UNLV.
Oh.
So for my
And 2
Super
quarterbacks.
Sofa game of the week, and by the way, you can find your Super Sofa for the entire home at TD's Fine Furniture, where the Labor Day sale means markdowns up to 50% off throughout the store, including markdowns throughout the Flex Steel store. That's TD's Fine Furniture in Summerton. My game, 3 o'clock, UNLV versus Idaho State.
Is it bad that I'm rooting for Orgy? I need Anthony Orgy.
Not the right, yeah.
No, not that. Honestly, I was not trying to go RG3 there.
Yeah.
I really wasn't.
Right, you good, man.
But yeah.
You don't ever have to confuse us for that, pal. We believe you.
Okay. May have a 4 or 5 auto Anthony Orgy that got a PSA 10 recently, so we need We need that to go. All right, I'm going to go for 2. Greg thought he was going a different direction. I'm going to take a complete left turn on you guys here. Tonight, our new chosen sons. Fresno State's gotten away from being our chosen sons. We can't have them anymore. Soldotna.
Let's go.
Chugiak. Rivalry game, week 2. 6 p.m. on
something.
NFHS Network, wherever you get that. Try to stream it maybe somehow, somewhere. But Soldotna Chugiak tonight. And do not forget, folks, I know it's week 0. It's the first weekend of college football. I get it. I understand it. That doesn't mean there's not playoff football happening, because there is. Tomorrow in the Elf League, the Madrid Bravos and the Stuttgart Surge, 8-4, 10-2. At 1500 CET.
1500 when?
CET.
The Michael Jackson song.
I'm just telling you what the website says. I don't know. From Gazi Stadion auf der Wardu in Stuttgart, Germany. Not to mention, not to be outdone, Sunday, the Rhine Fire at 8-4 and taking on the Nordic Storm. From Gadasax Stadion, Copenhagen, Denmark.
Okay.
Two, count them, 2 Elf playoff games this weekend. I was having a conversation with the listener last night, Damien, about the indoor football league. And I said, still to this day, the most amazing thing that I've ever seen is that game played in the mall. And I was trying to explain it to them. They did not believe me. They were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm telling you, there was a Sbarro in the end zone. Like 10 feet away from the back of the end zone. And the upper deck of the mall. It was like being in the old Brookwood Mall and the people standing in the upper deck right in front of Foot Locker watching the game. Literally. Like it was Claire's. You walk out 10 feet, upper deck, football game happening right there. They didn't believe me. It was real.
Nope.
I'm telling you guys, it happened.
We seen the tape.
There you go. Super Sofa game of the week. You have to wait for all those games of the week, Greg. But you have to wait for your dental care.
That's because Family Dental has you taken care of. The urgent care office you can see in the same day. Several locations to make it easy on you. They can also see you on Fridays and Saturdays, which is great for those of us that have some scheduling conflicts throughout the week. Call them today for an appointment. 874-9605. That's Family Care Dental. 874-9605.
First week of football. What are we doing? How are we setting it up? John, you got the multi-TVs ready?
I will next week, and I don't think maybe that many going
Not
on.
necessarily.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us you don't love football without telling us you don't love football, John.
Wow.
Didn't you say the
Got
punter
him.
would be the thing in the
I'm going
Auburn
to a
USC?
basketball camp this weekend for 2 days, so yeah, I don't like football either.
Thought you knew ball.
Get ready, Bruce. Here we come. See you guys Monday. 3-man front is next.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.